You're watching CoastLife, and we're not done yet with Chef Frank, of course, because the meal's not done. So where we left you was pasta was cooking, the sausage and broccolini was cooking. What is our next step?
Well, our next step is to do a quick recap.
Okay.
Number one is the sausage and broccolini, as you can see that steam exiting, is ready to go. It's nice and tender, but still al dente on the broccolini. But since we put the pasta in first, everything came together at the same time.
Love.
Which is really important. So, pasta water, very important. I'm gonna take some out of here in case I need it, and I would always advise you to do that. I may not need it, I may need it. So, now we're gonna, excuse me, I don't want hot behind.
All good.
There we go. I'm going to pull this pasta right out of the pot. It's store-bought penne. Penne means quill or pen in Italian. And there's nothing wrong with store-bought pasta. I mean, I would make pasta and I do it a lot, but you may not have time to do that. So again, this is about 6 ounces of pasta. So this is gonna serve 2, maybe 3, depending on how hungry you are, or maybe 1, depending how hungry you are, right?
I've been there.
So let me get all of this pasta out of here. You don't want to leave anybody behind in the pool. All right, so we're going to toss this around. Now, Paige, before we went on the air, you had talked to me about making Alfredo.
Yeah, he was a little disappointed. I tried to make something kind of similar, actually, to what you're making right now, a little dish with Alfredo sauce. And he said, how'd you make your Alfredo? And I said, a jar, of course. And he was like, no, girl, that's not what you do. So last minute, he decided we're going to kind of make a similar kind of sauce right now.
Yeah, first of all, Alfredo, contrary to what typical Americans do, is not made with cream. It's basically a butter, it's a butter and cheese and egg sauce.
Okay.
And it's done off the heat. So what I have here, if I were to just finish here, I could take some pasta water, because you can see it's loaded with starch, dump some pasta water in here, add some cheese, and make a sauce.
Beautiful.
And that's how I would have served it. But since you said, well, Alfredo, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this off the heat.
I'm so excited to see this. This is gonna be cool.
And we're gonna add a little pasta water. Hopefully this comes together. I hate when something doesn't come together. So here I have a couple of eggs beaten. Now this is off the heat with a little liquid. We don't want the eggs to scramble. So let's see if we can't get this working into a little creamy sauce. Here we go. You could, Paige, come on in here.
Yeah.
Take a lesson. See how we just.
And it's not turning into scrambled eggs.
Not turning into scrambled eggs. I have the heat off. It's turning into a nice creamy sauce.
It is, look at that.
How about that? Oh, somebody left the pool, but that's okay. All right. There we go. Now we're gonna let this go for a minute or two because the pasta will actually absorb the liquid and continue to cook. We're gonna also add some cheese to it, which will tighten it up, and then we'll be ready to plate. So add the rest of that in there. Goodbye. I'm gonna turn the heat back on a little bit. Give me some punch to that. So the reason why I added some pasta water in there, so they basically temper the eggs a little bit. I didn't want it to scramble. So what we're gonna do is right now, gonna add some pecorino romano. And you notice I'm following a recipe. See how much I'm putting in there?
Oh, however much you want.
However much you want.
Sounds good to me.
Use your common sense. If you like cheese, use the cheese. All right?
It is nearly time for my favorite part, but first I just have to say I'm very impressed with how I told you I had jarred Alfredo and you said no, and you just whipped it out of nowhere.
That's the no recipe cooking.
Yeah.
Just know what goes together. Make sure though if you're adding eggs to this, like we said, do it off the heat. Maybe add a little pasta water to dilute it a bit. Otherwise, you'll wind up with scrambled eggs. And as you said, it's an entirely different dish at that point.
Yes, definitely. And it's so cool that we can just do that real fast. I mean, like we said, this is supposed to be simple and easy for you guys. Most of you probably have eggs in your fridge.
Probably.
Yeah,
but before you eat,
please.
we're gonna hit it with a little bit more cheese.
Isn't that beautiful?
And when you add cheese, you drop it from on high.
Okay.
Like it's snowing.
Beautiful.
So, and boca al lupo.
Okay, what does that mean?
Into the mouth of the wolf.
Okay, let's do it. I'm gonna get a little bit of everything here. We got broccolini, pasta. Oh, there we go, and some of the sausage. Beautiful. It's gonna be a messy bite. That's okay. Mmm. Wait, that's not what I expected, but it's so good. It pairs so well together.
Yeah. Broccolini is really, really cool. It's a little sweeter, especially with the sweet Italian sausage. Now, if you're not into sweet Italian sausage, if you want, keep going.
I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah.
I'll waste time. If you want, if you want to use hot Italian sausage or a combination, you can kind of give us a different flavor profile with a little bit of a sweetness of the broccolini with the heat of the Italian sausage. You could probably do that.
Okay.
I don't like a lot of heat in my food, so I use sweet Italian sausage.
Amazing, and that sauce we just whipped out, you just whipped that out of nowhere, is so good. Highly recommend you guys try this exactly how Chef Frank did it. So thank you for another easy one-pot meal.
A one-pot meal, no recipe. It's a pantry pull. Look what's in your refrigerator. We talked about it off camera. Even though it looks like it came together in like 5 minutes, we were here maybe a half an hour putting this together. So it really isn't that difficult.
Not at all. So it's a great thing to make for your family. And as always, I love to ask you, Chef Frank, how can people get in touch with you? Because you will cook for people.
I will cook for you. And just contact me at cheffrankrenito.com. And I answer all emails.
He sure does. All right, I think I'm going to finish this, share with the man behind the camera, and then CoastLife. We'll be right back. You're watching CoastLife, and you guys have been loving when Chef Frank, who's back, or I guess we're back because we're
back.
In your home.
You're here.
We're back in his house. But you guys have been loving his simple meals that are still delicious. They feel gourmet, but it's something that the hardworking parent can do. So we're gonna have another one-pot meal.
That is we are. So this is basically part 2 of no recipe cooking, one-pot meals.
Yes.
You're busy. You come home. Do you order out for a pizza or do you cook something yourself? I have to compose a bunch of things. You don't want to do that.
No.
So what I have here is another idea for a one-pot, no recipe dish. And we're gonna do a culinary curveball, so to speak. Okay. Because as we were talking before we went on air, your attempt at Alfredo. Yeah. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna try it live on the air, see how it works out. So what we're making today, in case you're curious, we're gonna make a pasta with Italian sausage and broccolini.
Okay, what is broccolini?
I'm glad you asked. I was about ready to do that. Man, I tell you, you are.
I jumped in.
You're a straight line waiting to happen. So broccolini is a sister of broccoli. Okay. All right, as the name implies. So broccolini, anything when you see something in Italian that has ini on it, it means little. Oh. So basically it's little broccoli. But it's really a cross between broccoli and Chinese broccoli. Oh, okay. So it's a little milder, it's actually a little sweeter, and you can use the stems more. So in broccoli, you're worried about the florets, so either maybe you buy a bag of florets, or you get a bunch of broccoli and you have to cut the florets. Here, you only have to cut the end off a little bit. You can see here's a native bunch. So just cut the ends off a little bit, and if they're a little thick, just go ahead and cut it down a little bit, because we're gonna steam them right in the pan with the sausage. So this is basically a bunch of broccolini. Yeah. So when we come back, you're gonna meet me on the back stove there, and I'm gonna start putting this dish together.
All right, let's do it.
Now we're back at the stove, and we're gonna make up this pasta with sausage and broccolini. So again, when we're talking about no recipe cooking and one-pot meals, we really have to think about the sequencing of our cooking. So the first thing we want to do is drop the pasta, and the first thing we want to do there is that takes the longest cook time. So what I have here is about 3 quarts of water and a tablespoon of salt. I'm going to drop this pasta. This is 6 ounces of pasta. Again, the serving size was 2 ounces, but I'm making the serving size 3 ounces, because that's the way I roll. So that's your pasta. I have a little olive oil in this very hot pan, And here's some of my Italian sausage, and gonna get that in the pan and start to browning. Let me break this up a little bit. Now there's fat in this sausage, but I started with a little olive oil to kind of get it started. This pasta is going to take about 8 minutes to cook al dente. What does al dente mean? Al dente means firm to the bite, as in dente, dentures, come from the Italian. So we're going to render this sausage a little bit. Once this sausage gets rendered, we're going to throw in the broccolini, cover it, maybe add a little water to the pan and let the broccolini steam. Our sausage has browned and some fat has rendered. It's time to drop the broccolini. So we're going to take the broccolini, saute it in the pan, just like that. And it's going to absorb some of the flavors from the sausage. And we're going to need just a tad bit of liquid because we're going to steam it. Maybe a little more liquid, and I'm just using the pasta water. So hit it with a little salt because there is seasoning and salt and whatnot in the sausage, but a broccoli or broccolini can take a lot of seasoning. So the pasta is going. The broccolini needs to steam, so now we just cover that. It takes about 5, 6, 7 minutes, and when we come back, I'll be dropping the pasta in there for your one-pot meal.